Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what time it is you're watching. Hello, friend, and welcome to my channel. And if you're a returning friend, hey, welcome back. Today we're gonna finally start again Looks in the Library. Creative Chaos is here with us as well. So we did finish Old Thought Next Door, and I have been having trouble finding a book that's even anywhere close to that. So I just found this book and I think it's gonna be good. Hopefully y'all like it. Hopefully it gives us enough, you know what I mean? But if you're ready, so am I. Now let's see if Creative Chaos is ready too. Introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, hey. I sorry, I was on mute.
I'm screaming. I'm keeping that.
Hey guys, see you listening. Period is key. Key to life. Balance is key. Period. You already know. How y'all doing?
It has
I
been
missed y'all too.
Alright, so if y'all are ready, so are we. Let's get into the nonsense. So the book that we're going to be listening to is called Curvy Girl Summer. It's by Danielle Allen. This book is 6 hours and 12 minutes long. It's about 4 to 5 episodes. I think we could do it.
Macmillan Audio presents Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. Read for you by Wesley Siobhan. There were many reasons why I stopped dating Matthew, but a well-timed apology and his 10 veiny inches had me bent over for him one final time. I was feeling good and was inexplicably horny, so it didn't take much for me to give in to his offer. I normally wasn't the type to double back on someone I'd let go of. I didn't believe in second chances when it came to matters of the heart. But if I were being completely honest with myself, it wasn't the heart that was making the decisions. It was the 6-month-long journey of singleness that I'd embarked on to start the new year. And while I wasn't proud of my decision, I was satisfied with it. Thoroughly satisfied.
Thoroughly is crazy.
I was going to be 30 soon, and I was never really interested in casual hookups. It would have been easy to meet someone new to have sex with. Sex was easy. But there was no guarantee that a new man would take care of my needs. And the one thing that Matthew consistently did right was me. Matthew.
Okay.
I whimpered, feeling the tension between my thighs. My hands gripped the kitchen island. My fingers slipped across the freshly cleaned marble as he pushed my skin-tight skirt over my ass, bunching it at my waist. "Do you know how much I've missed you?" he asked as he kissed the backs of my thighs, slowly peeling my G-string down.
Okay.
He helped me step out of it. "Do you know how often I think about you?" He kissed my
Alexa,
ass
pause.
cheek.
Why they don't hire male voice actors? They never hire male voice actors. Do you know how much I missed you? Do you know? Do you know? Like, sir, ma'am. Ma'am, sir. Not today.
Like, we gonna get the whole audiobook from her voice.
Right. Go find you a Negro. Oh, my Lord. Anyways, Alexa, play. Alexa, play.
What do you want me to play?
Oh, bitch. See, this is what I'm talking about. Go away from me.
This big, fat ass. Without warning, his hand came down on my right cheek. My skin tingled as the familiarity of his touch combined with the pain of the slap. The desire in his voice sent chills down my spine. "How often?" I wondered breathily. "How often do you think about me?" He trailed kisses across my lower back before he stood. "I've thought about you every day since you ghosted me." The sound of his belt buckle hitting the laminate flooring was like a bell,
Oh, he finna give
alerting
it to
me
him.
to what was to come. I grabbed the edge of the island countertop and braced myself. I didn't ghost you. You did. He positioned both of his hands on my hips, tugging me back so that I felt him hot and hard against me. And I still couldn't stop thinking about our last time together and how hard you came on my face. His hands roughly pushed up my flowy top, exposing more of my back, and how sexy you looked, riding me, coming on my dick.
Okay.
I was dripping wet. Yes. I dragged out breathily. But I didn't ghost you. We talked. You talked. He interrupted. I listened, but you talked. He took his tongue and licked up my spine. And now it's time for you to listen. I shivered. I'm listening. He wrapped his arms around my middle so that he could grip the fleshiness of my belly under my shirt. It's so fucking soft. He pulled me up so that I was standing upright, running his hands upward until he reached my breasts. He cupped them and ran his thumbs over my heart and nipples. My head lolled back, resting on his shoulder as he continued to toy with me. When I felt his breath on my neck, I inhaled sharply. Spread your legs, he whispered. I did as I was told and was rewarded with the feeling of his dick between my thighs.
Okay.
Anticipating his next move, I held my breath when his hand moved from my breast to between my legs. The moment the pads of his fingers grazed my waxed flesh and surrendered to his touch. You're already so wet for me, he murmured, massaging his way into me. His middle and forefinger slid in and out of me, and I moaned loudly.
Mind you, we on page 1.
I missed you.
Page
His
1.
voice was rough and needy. Pulling his fingers out, he rubbed my clit. The fact that you're here tells me that you missed me too. I knew what he wanted me to say, but I couldn't bring myself to say it. It wasn't true. If anything, the only thing I missed was his dick.
Okay.
How much did you miss me? He wondered softly. Instead of answering, I groaned, grinding against his hand. It felt like his dick got even harder as it pressed against my ass. He slipped a finger back inside me. Oh, yeah? That much, huh? Leaning down so that his lips brushed against the shell of my ear, he applied pressure while rubbing me. It feels like she's ready for me. Panting, my desire twisted my gut. I felt myself approaching the edge. Yes. I dragged the answer out as I gyrated against his hand. I'm ready for you. What are you ready for me to do with you? I wanted him so bad that I was starting to lose control. The only thing I could think about was how badly I needed to get off. I'm ready for you to fuck me, I whined.
Okay.
He spun me around and then crashed his mouth to mine, kissing me roughly and recklessly. He pinned me between the island and his hard body. When he pulled back, he yanked my shirt over my head and then cast his gaze over my body, running his fist over the length of his dick. He took another step back. I missed your sexy ass. Show me, I murmured, staring at the reason I came over. Oh, I plan to. He grabbed his pants from the floor and took a condom out of his pocket. I plan to show you a few times. The latex stretched over his dick. Can you handle it? I nodded. Yes. Good. He grunted, taking a step forward. I gasped at the quickness with which he spun me around by my bunched-up skirt. Pushing me against the island, he put me into position. His hands moved up my back to bend me over and then down to my hips. So fucking soft, he whispered. With one hand, he held my skirt like reins, and with the other, he palmed my ass. Then he smacked it again. I yelped. Pleasure and pain.
Imagine being in the studio recording this.
Stay right there. He breathed. I felt him lining up against me.
My lord.
Oh my God. I moaned as he pushed himself into me. This pussy is so fucking good. He dug his fingers into my skin as he restrained himself. It's so fucking wet for me. He wasn't lying. It had been a long time since I'd been properly taken care of, so I was ready for him. Wet from anticipation and the pressure of him stretching me out. I didn't need him to be as gentle. As he pushed inch after inch in me, I couldn't control the sounds that came out of me. The deeper he got, the louder I became. He let out a low groan as he filled me to the hilt. He ran his hands all over me before returning his hands to my hips. I've missed this pussy.
Okay,
I've
sir.
missed how good you feel.
All
I could
right.
only moan in response as I started grinding against him. I remember exactly what I like. He rasped as I continued to throw it back on him.
As you should.
Breathing, coupled with the sound of my wetness and our skin slapping together, the reverberations seemed to echo.
Alexa, pause. Why would
Skin slapping together is crazy business.
No, it's the. Why would you put reverberations in this scene? Girl, we see, and this is why I like to read the hood shit. I don't need all these words. What they in there doing? That's all I need to know. The reverberation. Girl, shut the fuck up. We're not here for that. Now, truthfully, I can't tell if my eyebrows are equal.
I'm screaming.
It's gonna get very much Picasso. All right, girl.
It's me, taking back control. He moved in and out of me until I felt the tension tighten my entire lower body. You like that, don't you, Aaliyah? His voice was desperate and needy.
Heaven forbid.
Yes. Oh, shit. He groaned softly, picking up the pace. His strokes consistently hit the right spot. It was like he knew which buttons to push and when. I held on to the edge of the island for dear life as he pounded into me. Right there. I called out breathlessly. Yes.
You sound like the last couple seconds of that song from Flowetry.
Phone time sick, just like you used to. Let me feel that pussy. I tried my best to hold it together, but I felt myself coming undone as soon as he said that. Oh my God. He sucked in a shuddering breath before he let loose, ramming into me. I know you missed it, he panted. Even if you can't admit it, your pussy is telling on you. It's so wet for me.
What is
Do you hear that? Do you fucking hear how wet you are for me? As he continued to thrust his hips, I threw my ass back to meet him. Each and every word out of his mouth added to my building orgasm. He always talked a lot of shit, and I loved it. Man, I panted, beginning my descent into pure pleasure. My muscles clenched, and I started clamping down around him. Oh, God, yes. That's right, he hissed. You're coming for me. The ache deep inside me exploded. Quivering, I came apart on his throbbing dick. Oh, shit. His body jerked and shuddered as he reached his climax as abruptly as I'd reached mine. I slumped against the island, completely worn out. My head rested against the cool marble, and my breaths came out in heavy bursts. Matthew was bent over me, hugging me and panting on my back. My thighs were shaking, and the only reason I was still upright was because I was pinned down. Wow.
Oh, this is the wrong
He
damn brush.
exhaled
Okay.
before carefully pulling out of me. He turned me around and stared at me. I almost forgot how good you feel. Yeah, I agreed lightly, still catching my breath. That was good. I let my head rock.
That was
around,
good as crazy.
and I stared at the ceiling, met expectations, and pure satisfaction ran through my veins and quieted the noise my horniness had caused. The on-edge feeling had been replaced by calmness. The feral desire that started to cloud my judgment after months of abstinence had been replaced with quiet peace. Closing my eyes, I let out a deep, contented breath. No, Matthew started. Can we just start over?
Can we
I
just
raised my head
talk?
and looked into his hopeful brown eyes. The sinking sensation that I was hoping to avoid returned. Grabbing the paper towels that I pushed out of the way when he'd first bent me over, I tore off a few squares.
She not
Cleaning myself
looking for all
up,
that.
I started to move toward the trash can. He took the juice-soaked paper towels from my hand and held them up to his nose, inhaling deep.
Sir.
Do you even know what you do to me?
Oh, he's a
You
fiend.
smell so good.
He's a fiend.
Let me taste you again.
Oh, good God.
Please. Pulling my skirt down, I took the paper towels from his hand and tossed them in the trash. I told you, this was a one-time thing when I agreed to come over. He removed the condom and then followed me to the sink while I washed my hands. You also told me that you weren't ever going to see me again. And here you are, seeing me again, he reasoned. Things change. And I want you to change your mind about us kicking it with each other again.
Kicking it? What was this written?
I shook my head before I tucked my shirt over it. You and I didn't work out for multiple reasons. You already know this. He twisted his face in confusion, pointing at my clothed body and then his naked one. You didn't just feel that. We work. You can't tell me you didn't feel it. I gestured between the two of us. The only thing that ever worked between us was the sex. The more we got to know each other, the clearer it was that you and I aren't on the same page. You don't get me. He was giving me a little puppy dog look, so I averted my eyes. I told you this already. I looked around, unable to find my G-string. It was definitely time to go. Give me 3 good reasons why you and I aren't a good fit.
3 is very specific. Alexa,
Baby, I can't even give you one.
Him over here.
Of why we shouldn't.
Alexa, pause.
Can't even give you one.
The nigga said, give me 3 good reasons. Excuse me? 3 good
why
reasons?
We don't work, baby. I can't even give you one of why we do.
Trifling. Give me 3 good reasons.
That be the problem with men.
With men.
I think it's gonna work. Do you?
You would think it's gonna work for you, the problem.
It's gonna work for you, not for me.
All right. Give me 3 good reasons. This is so female coded. I know a woman wrote this. I just know. That other book we were reading, you could tell a man wrote this because this would never happen. Never. Alexa, play.
Playing Bluetooth. What? The living room, where my bag was still on the couch. Grabbing it, I slung it over my shoulder. Please, just talk to me. You can't give me a taste of that pussy and just roll out.
Watch her.
I looked at him as if he'd lost his mind. What are you doing? You reached out to me and said everything was cool.
Alexa, pause.
Unrelated. And audience, I just want y'all to understand this as well. Why did I just see someone ask a genuine question of why we don't eat seals? Seals?
The
See this thing with the black eyes? This is what you want to eat. I want everyone to please go down. Anyways, continue.
Alexa, play.
What do you want me to play?
See, and that's the bullshit I'm talking about. You get on my nerves.
Shuffling My Nerves by Sakuri and Similar Tracks on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop. This is the shit I be going through. Like, what is this?
Similar music.
This isn't cool. Because you're tripping. If you don't think there's something real here,
And I'm
you don't
keeping
have a
that too.
reason for not wanting to see this through. The thing is, I told you the reasons why we ended when we ended. I didn't ghost you. I didn't lead you on. I didn't play you. I was honest with you. And that was that. He shook his head. But that wasn't that. You said what you had to say, and then you never responded to me again. We'd been dating for a while, and you just bailed on it. We'd been dating for 2 months, I corrected. I hit a bump in the road, and you just dipped on me. My eyebrows flew up. Is that what you've been telling yourself? He looked down with his lips in a tight line. I mean, I know it was wrong that I accidentally called you someone else's name. Your ex-girlfriend's name. I reminded him. You called me your ex-girlfriend's name, and I apologize for that. It was a rough week. She had reached out, and you said you thought you might still be in love with her. I reminded him. I was confused, and I told you that. And I told you to explore that and see how you feel. I shrugged. It's standard advice. Okay, but I realized I wasn't still in love with her. I was just missing the life I had in Philly. Okay. And I told you I was happy for you for figuring that out. But then you didn't say anything else. And you weren't fucking with me anymore.
Ooh, this is so Kimani coded. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Go figure it out.
Slowly.
I'm happy for you that you figured it out.
He didn't understand. Because I'm not obligated to hang around and wait for you to figure your shit out.
Oh, this was written by a black woman. Oh, glory. Oh, she said, I'm glad you figured that out. Congratulations.
Hello?
Meanwhile.
Love that for you. That's my favorite.
Love it. Amen. Give glory where glory is needed. Mm-hmm.
All I've been trying to tell you for months was that if I would have known you were going to leave me, I wouldn't have even thought twice about hitting her up and seeing what was up. Saying, I walked to his front door.
If you loved me, you would have never went to go figure that out in the first place.
I'm just trying to talk. Turning to face him, I kept my hand on the doorknob to let him know I was still planning to leave. He ran his hand down his washboard abs and then rested them low on his hips.
Stand up!
I knew what he was doing. He was doing what he was used to doing, using his looks, his body, and his big-ass dick to get his way. But it didn't work on me then, and it wasn't going to work on me now. I only agreed to talk to him because of my needs. I don't know what to tell you. You did what you wanted to do. It didn't work out the way you'd hoped. That's not on me.
Hello?
I glanced down at his dick, hanging heavily against his thigh. This is all your fucking fault. I silently cursed the demonic dick. I should have known this was going to happen. When you responded tonight, you said you accepted my apology. He said, reaching out for me. What changed? I do accept your apology. I told him. I accepted your apology back then.
Hello? Can we talk about it for a second?
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Niggas of YouTube. What be wrong with y'all? Just because we accept apology don't mean we falling back into the foolishness. Grow from
You are forgiven.
You're forgiven. Not forgotten. And that's getting ready to be tattooed on somebody's ass. You are forgiven. Not forgotten. Like, what you mean? You wanted to spin the block. Spin it. By all means, spin the block. This block is closed.
Hello?
The road is destroyed. The big old orange sign, yellow sign, it's done.
Hello, dead end, one way.
Dead end, one way. So sorry.
Do not enter.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Done. Party done.
Party done. It's a block party over here.
Block
Into
party.
the streets.
Neanderthal behavior. Woo!
Enter the streets.
Hello.
Correct them kids, or they gonna get corrected outside? Which one would you prefer? Because some people don't stop at just popping you.
I'm about to say the child has a better chance of survival being popped at home.
Hello, because people outside get it back in blood. I am one of those people. So please.
One thing about my friend is she's nuts, and that's okay.
They must look good.
I mean, she started this path. Amen. Carry on.
What? If I'm on a dangerous path, what path are you on?
Ooh.
I asked him silently as I eyed his beer belly. If I would have said what I was thinking, everyone would have said I was in the wrong. And while he always meant well, my 65-year-old uncle never mastered the art of speaking to people. He didn't have tact or kindness at the forefront of his mind when he spoke. He always offered up unsolicited advice under the guise of jokes and tough love. But if someone did the same to him in return, he'd be mad.
Hello?
And if I advised him with the same jokes and tough love about his love life, everyone would say I was disrespecting my elder. A dangerous path? I scoffed. I went to the doctor for a physical last month, and I'm healthy. Documented and on file. I'm healthy.
Pop your shit.
When was your last appointment? Ain't no way. He interrupted loudly. His gruff voice was full of amusement. You're a beautiful girl, but you're a big girl.
Okay.
And you've just been getting bigger and bigger. That can't be healthy. That's a lie, I told him, putting my hands on my rounded hips. I've maintained the same weight for the last few years. Well, for the last few years, you should have been working on losing the weight. It gets harder to get it off after 30. And at the rate you're going to end up on that show, living that 1,000-pound life.
That is my show, though.
He has some nerve. That was a joke. I don't mean no harm. He threw his hands up and sat back in the chair. But now I'm being serious, Leah. I'm serious. He searched my face, and I know you got something to say. So, say what's on your mind. But just listen first. I'm worried about you. There's nothing to be worried about. Yes, there is, and I'm worried. His voice boomed, carrying through the house. You don't have a husband or any prospects or anything. You don't think we sit around worried about what's going to become of you. What? My eyes widened because I couldn't have heard what I thought I heard. What's going to become of me? He cocked his head to the side. We're going to find you somebody. That's the last thing I'd want. Well, maybe it's what you need, because it's looking like you're not having any luck on your own. And you know what it is, don't you? I sighed loudly and started to leave the room. We're not having this conversation. If no one else is going to say it, I'm going to say it. It's your weight. Your weight has something to do with it.
I like the pause.
You see, you stuck around too long in this conversation. Because my thing is, if you wasn't going to rebuttal and, tell him by himself,
Leave.
Or, like I said, throw hands, we should have walked out of that room.
We should have never got to this part of the conversation.
We should have never got to this part of the conversation. Because I understand some people out there, y'all are not confrontational individuals, and I understand that. But what I will not allow y'all to sit here and think it's okay is to sit in people's face while they disrespect you.
Ever.
Why are we sitting in conversation letting other people make us uncomfortable and taking it?
Hello? I will roll out so quick.
That?
I will roll out so quick.
To sit in this conversation with this person who's just clearly ignorant. You just said to that man that you went to the doctor and he said you're perfectly healthy. Big, round, and beautiful as you are.
First of all, a size
Healthy.
20 is not that big.
I didn't even hear what her size was. All I know is that she said she was curvy. And my thing is, how did we get from curvy to a 1,000-pound TV show? How did we get there?
A 75-year-old nigga who don't know how to mind his business. With a pot belly on.
You worried about me getting married and all this stuff. That has nothing to do with you.
Why do y'all think that's the end all be all? To be with a man? A child. No.
Please. Anyways, continue.
Continue.
With with family members joyously entertaining themselves outside, my uncle came into the house to tell me that I didn't have a man because I was fat. To say I was dumbfounded was an understatement. Turning to face him, I was ready to tell him off. He pointed at the picture of Anaya. At 30, she was married and pregnant. They were living in that big old house. She was running a successful business and making good money. That's why I gave Anaya the yacht.
Well, go
She
dig
was
her up.
ready to handle something like that. And she had somebody. She had a man to help her and to help her take care of the yacht. You'll be 30 in a couple months. And what do you have? I didn't know if I was more irritated by the pity in his eyes or the audacity of his words. My jaw dropped. You're not serious. You're not serious. The sharpness of my tone seemed to trigger something in him. He slowly pushed himself up. Now don't get upset. I'm not saying this to hurt you. He took a couple of steps toward me. I'm just worried about you. We're all just worried about you, that's all. What are we all worried about, Al? Mom asked as she entered the room with my grandma in tow. With a frown, he turned around and looked at my mother. It's time to be honest with her, Alicia. Instead of you and Daryl silently worrying about her and her future, you should have been talking to her. Al, what is the meaning of this? My mom snapped, interrupting him. Putting her hands on her hips, she shifted her gaze between me and my uncle before she glared at her older brother. Why are you in here running your mouth? This isn't your business. He poked his chest out. Since you and Daryl haven't done it, I decided to have the conversation with him. Especially since Marcus Albert, you need to mind your manners. My grandma scolded him. That's not your place.
Or your child.
What is going on? I questioned, looking around the room. Everyone fell silent. My uncle muttered under his breath and then turned to me. It's not just me concerned about your condition. What condition? I replied before turning to my mother. What is he talking about? Aaliyah, we'll talk about it later.
Oh, no,
She
we don't talk about it
asked
now.
gently. You don't solve problems by ignoring them, Uncle Al said loudly. I said I'll talk to her about it later. Mom snapped at him. The uneasy feeling settled over me. No, I want to talk about it now.
And I want to talk about it now.
What condition? My mom shook her head. It's just something I wanted to wait until after the party is over to talk to you about. I folded my arms across my chest. Now, let's talk now.
Because it's the way it wouldn't be no more party.
You know, because reading things like this and watching certain shows really just makes me know on a regular basis that I
am not well.
Have anger issues. Because the way I would have been on flames in here.
Wouldn't be no more party.
No more party.
In the words of that one man in the Sean Paul video, party done. Get the hell out of my house. Out. Out. Because y'all clearly have enough time to be sitting here talking about me. So let's talk about everybody.
No, because literally I was sitting in conversation talking about me on a regular basis. So much to where we have to have, you used to try and have a fake intervention at my sister's memorial.
5-year memorial.
Like, y'all are sick. Y'all are sick. Yeah.
No, because if you see the picture of her on the story, she's not even that big. She's not, like, y'all get on my nerves. The way y'all feel like fat people don't deserve nothing, get out of here.
Jail.
First on.
Everyone needs to be arrested.
Federal.
You seem to know, and I'm the only one not privy to this condition that I'm allegedly afflicted with. She adjusted her glasses on the bridge of her nose. Your uncle should have never brought it up. It wasn't his place. She took a breath. We were having a conversation. Who was we? I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Your father and I. When I nodded, She continued, and we were discussing how much we're looking forward to the period of our lives when we get grandchildren. We started talking about the fact that it's been a long time since you've mentioned dating anyone seriously. Years. Al chimed in unnecessarily. We questioned if that was in the cards for us if you aren't with anyone. She lifted her shoulders and looked around. And then when your grandmother and uncle came into the kitchen, we got to talking about and reminiscing about Anaya's plans.
Well, go dig her up.
I nodded,
Hello?
connecting the dots. So that's why Uncle Al was mentioning Anaya being married and how they were planning for a baby. My lip
How you know
curled,
I want to
but
have
I'm not
kids? Your
Anaya,
dreams
and
of
that's all I was
grandchildren
trying to tell
may
you.
just be that
My
already.
uncle jumped in.
And let's talk about that right there. What makes you think I want children? There is no benefit.
And on top of that, even if I wanted to bless myself, not you, with children, do you think that I would have them around you people?
Right.
Even if I had said children.
I'm gonna go have one out of spite and you never see it.
Like, what makes you think that I would want you people around my child?
Quickly.
What rights do you people have to my child that I would push out of my own coochie? How is my children going to be your accomplishment?
You want children? Go have another one.
Grandchildren. How about you have another child? You have another child and bake on that one having a grandchild.
Yeah, how about that?
For you. How about that? Or you could adopt. How about that? There are options.
You can get a child in every flavor if you adopt.
Anyways, Chubb, continue.
You know I ain't with the shits on forcing people to have a kid. Get out of here.
Interrupting me. You need to get yourself together so that you can be on track like your sister, which is why Marcus Albert. My mother glared at her brother before turning back to me. Her face softened. He has no right to bring that up to you, especially not today, like this. Why does he keep saying stuff at all? And what about Marcus? I asked, my frown deepening as my mom and her brother bickered. Did either of you even ask the girl what she wants? Nana looked between her children before looking at me. Do you want a husband, Aaliyah? Is that what you want right now? All eyes were on me. Last month's fiasco with Matthew flashed through my mind, sticking out like a sore thumb. Yes, I do, I admitted. And I would love to have met the right man to be my husband. But I haven't. And I'm not willing to settle. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. Nana confirmed with a nod. And do you want kids? Yeah, one day. A biological clock ticked faintly in the background of my mind. But again, I don't want to have kids with just anyone. I'd like to do that with my husband, and I'm not going to marry just anyone. So it goes back to what I said before. I'm not willing to settle. My grandma beamed at me. That's my girl. I flashed her a small smile. But before thank you could cross my lips, Uncle Al opened his big mouth again. Your grandma was married before 30. Your mom was married before 30. Your cousins, Tamara and Janelle, were married before 30. Your sister was married before 30. My first wife wasn't yet 30 when I married her, my uncle pointed out. And I'm telling you this because I love you. You need to get it together so you can get what it is that you say you want. Albert, that's enough.
Somebody punch this nigga.
Rolling her eyes.
Hello?
I'm just telling her the truth. He threw his hands up in the air. Sometimes we need a dose of reality. And her reality is that she's getting up there. She's just going to be 30 on her birthday. My grandma responded, dismissing him with a wave of her hand. My uncle looked at her incredulously. I'm not just talking about her age.
Okay, spelling bee
I'm talking
champ.
about weight. How is she going to get a man who can take care of her at her size? My mom and grandmother looked horrified. Do not talk about her like that, Mom snapped. I used to talk to you like that. He pointed to her slim, thick frame, and you got the weight off you, and you managed to keep it off. Then you found you a good husband and had 2 beautiful babies. I want
Oh,
the
so you
same
bullied
thing
your
for
own
my
sister,
niece.
and now here you are
Albert.
bullying my child.
Now,
Got it.
Grandma barked his name and it wiped the expression off his face. Her body might have been small, but her voice was mighty. Can I have a word with you in the kitchen? She turned on her heel and stormed out, slowly, but still. I'm grown now, Ma. You don't have to be yelling at me like this, he said as he followed her. When it was
Right,
just
you gonna
me
follow her
and
though. Get your
she shook her
stupid
head.
ass in the kitchen.
If he weren't my brother, I would wring his neck. Yeah,
You can do that to your brother
Uncle
anyway, you
Al
know.
can be an astronomical jerk. Remembering who I was talking to, I'd quickly changed my wording. But why were you discussing my love life with everyone? It wasn't with everyone. It was just with family. I squeezed my eyes shut and exhaled. Okay, that's not the point. You were telling them my business when you know I hate people in my business. It's not that big of a deal. To you.
Dismiss
It's
them!
big of a deal to you.
Hello?
I'm sorry. She apologized with a tone that seemed like she was indeed not sorry. But honestly, we weren't talking about you. Your father and I were talking about how excited we were to become grandparents. And when we lost that, we were hoping to have that opportunity again.
So all about you.
So by default, you are the only person that can make that a reality for us. So it wasn't that we were discussing you, per se. We were actually talking about us. She tilted her head. But now that we're on the subject, how did you like Marcus? Confused as to what that had to do
I would
with
turn into a
anything,
lesbian
I
right
balled
there.
my face up.
Right there.
Marcus
No
will be back
kids.
here in time for your birthday party. He's ending his military career and then moving to Richland. And since he doesn't know anyone in the area, I've extended an invitation to him. My eyes bulge. You invited him to my birthday party? The one I'm throwing for myself. Yes. You invited him to the dinner or the party? Both. She didn't raise a fool. I didn't say what I wanted to say, but my mom has some nerve. Taking a deep breath, I attempted a different approach. Why? Why what? She asked.
Why is
Why
crazy?
did you invite Marcus, a man I don't know, to my 30th birthday dinner, knowing it's an intimate gathering of people I'm close with? Because he doesn't know anyone, and she put her hands on her hips. You could benefit from making a new friend, especially one who is single and eligible. I stared at her for a second. Was this supposed to be a setup? No. My mother was always a terrible liar. Mom? I pinched the bridge of my nose. At a nice celebration?
That's what,
I don't
okay.
need your...
Cause I'm not tripping. This is the repass for your dead daughter. And y'all up here in her coochie, in her cervix, in her boonty cakes. Like, come on, man. She trying to grieve. This is generally not like a good time for anybody. And y'all up here, instead of worried about the daughter that's dead, worried about her getting married so you can have some grandkids. When I tell you I would donate my uterus to surgery the very next day, nobody's gonna have a good time.
I'm screaming.
Like, I don't know why y'all think people want children. And only grandma had the nerve to say, does she even want this?
Grandma was asking the right questions.
Grandmother was asking the correct questions. 2 clicks for grandmother.
Help finding a date. But it looks like you could use some help finding a husband. My jaw dropped. Wow. I was too stunned to speak. All I
Y'all don't be hitting people enough.
is that you aren't getting any younger, she continued. Tomorrow isn't promised, Aaliyah. If you want the husband and the kids, you may need to look outside of your comfort zone. And from everything Liz has told me over the years, Marcus sounds like a good man. And I wouldn't be doing my job as your mother if I didn't at least try to make the introduction. He's looking to settle down. You're looking to settle down. So.
Well, my thing is, I don't have a
She
problem with
gestured
that,
with
but
her
you could have
hands,
asked me
as if
first.
she wanted me to fill in the blanks.
I
felt
don't
my
see an
hand was
issue with
about to
setting
pop
people
from my
up
neck.
because you never know.
Closing my eyes, I exhaled roughly. This is
don't try and okie dokie about it.
Right. Don't try to,
What was that?
it's for your best.
My eyes flew open
You know?
at the sound of my mother's stern voice. Huh? I played dumb. She pursed her lips. Young lady, you are not too old for me to get in your ass for that tone. So watch it. I'm sorry, I murmured, backtracking.
Issue number 17,003. I'm grown as the fuck. Don't come in here talking crazy and expect me to be all peachy keen with you. Like, you talking mad shit about me to everyone but me. And then I'm supposed to have some type of respect, child. Now, could never happen because I don't think my mom would care like that, but that's crazy to me. You ain't too old. Y'all too old. How about we start there? Y'all ain't got nothing else to do? Everybody would be dead.
I'm just frustrated. She made a face. Frustrated that I'm looking out for you and your well-being. Frustrated that you're trying to set me up by inviting a man I don't know to my birthday party without asking me about it. Frustrated that you tried to set me up on a blind date during Anaya's celebration. Frustrated that we're even having this conversation. And you know what? How do you know I don't have someone? She don't got nobody. My uncle commented something. Mom and I both startled as we whipped around. If she did, she would have said something. He continued. Now she's
Where he
talking
come
out
from?
the side of her neck. And you're talking out the side of your ass, I retorted, sneering at my uncle. Aaliyah, my mom snapped. Both of you need to stop this. He lifted his hands. Listen, if you have somebody, prove it. Better yet, if you have somebody, I'll give you the yacht for your birthday. My stomach lurched. Albert, enough is enough.
Like, you
Mom
keep
yelled
throwing this boat, I
before
would
had a
sink that
chance to
bitch.
respond. What? I gave it to Anaya because she had a husband, and I'd be willing to give it to Aaliyah if she can give us hope that she can get a man. Pointing, and with narrowed eyes, she yelled, "Shut your mouth and get out!" Albert, you said you were going to help Daryl on the grill. My grandma called from somewhere else in the house. Go outside and help her. Stop being nosy. She better hope that Marcus boy like 'em thick so we can get her married off, he muttered as he shuffled away. I turned back to my mother. Pointing in the direction of the door, I hissed, to make matters worse. Instead of talking to me and asking me if I was interested, you talked to Dad, Nana, and Uncle Al. Again, the topic wasn't about you per se, but okay, she sighed. It all happened fast, but I can't understand why you would feel that way. It wasn't an apology, but it felt like an acknowledgement of some sort. I nodded. Thank you. But I've already invited him, so he is coming. Closing my eyes for a second, I sighed. My main issue isn't with him coming to the party. I relented. My issue is with you inviting him to the dinner. It's with the setup in general, and the fact that you're trying to marry me off as if I'm a burden on the family. So I really hope you just told Marcus and Liz that this is an invitation from you and nothing more. You don't want to date him? Fine. She tossed her hands up flippantly. You said you were inviting a lot of people to the party. A lot of people that I know, I interjected.
Hello?
That's the difference. Well, when you see him again, if it's not a love match, there may be someone else there for him. Either way, I think the party will be a nice way to welcome him to the area. What's the harm in that?
I'm sick
There's
of
no
y'all.
harm in that. So, why wouldn't you be open to giving him a chance? Why would you let someone at your party get first dibs on an eligible bachelor when Liz and I think Marcus could be a good fit for you? So, she has talked to Liz about it. What the fuck? Because there's someone else, I blurted out. My mother's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Who? You'll see at my party. My mother opened her mouth to speak, but the doorbell rang. Rolling her shoulders back, she plastered a smile on her face. We're celebrating your sister today. Let's focus on that.
Oh, hell no.
Gladly, I mumbled as she went to open the front door. 3.
Nonsense.
I left the cookout for my sister while my mom was in conversation with some family members and my dad was playing dominoes with his brothers. Lifting my hand in a wave, I said goodbye to some cousins deep in conversation on the deck. With a to-go plate in hand, I eased my way back into the house. I stopped briefly in the kitchen to grab some aluminum foil, and then I continued my trek out of the house. Your grandmama and mama are on my ass because of what I said to you, Uncle Al said, just as I closed the front door behind me. Turning around slowly, I saw him standing at the bottom of the stairs, smoking a cigarette. Well, that's between the 3 of you, I told him as I stomped down the steps. Yeah, well, they'll cool off. He flicked his cigarette and then walked with me to my car. I'm more concerned about you right now. I don't need your concern or your pity, I snapped irritably. His face crumpled in confusion. I'm coming from a place of love, Aaliyah.
You take that love straight to hell.
He grabbed my arm. Don't you? I sighed. Yes. I didn't mean no harm. Okay. I just want you to have a good life. He let go of my arm and searched my face. Do you remember my second wife's daughter, Macy? Big, heavy-set one. She's about 45 now. The last time you saw her, you might have been 10. So she was... He looked like he was doing the math in his head. About 25. She was about 25 when you last saw her. I nodded. Yeah, I remember her. I done seen her at the store a couple months back. He shook his head. I hadn't seen her in about 7 years. She's struggling and raising up those 2 kids by herself. She ain't got nobody. And she was always a good girl, a real sweet one with a good head on her shoulders. And now that she's older, she may find somebody, or maybe not. When men are younger, they're looking for someone a little fitter. She may find somebody soon, somebody who just wants companionship. But she spent half her life without somebody to come home to. And do you know why she doesn't have a husband to take care of? I put my hands on my hips. No, I don't. And you don't either unless she told you. Did she tell you? Yes. She told me she was depressed and lonely. He started listing off what she'd said with his fingers. She said she didn't have help with the kids. She said she was struggling with her diet. She said she was going through a hard time. And when I asked her about her husband, she said she wished she could find a good one to date, let alone marry. Okay.
Pause.
She could be depressed, lonely.
All of those things that he just listed are all things that, yes, a husband can help with. But you know who else can help with those things? Her actual family. Her actual family can help her with the kids. Her actual family can help support her into losing the weight that she wants to lose and exercise.
Her actual therapist can help with the depression.
Because she'll have time to go to said therapist if her actual family would give her a hand. Y'all so interested in sending off young women to go find a husband, take care of them, when really it takes a village.
And
Men don't do nothing. Men don't do a damn thing. If anything, you are supporting them through your own trials and tribulations regardless.
hello? More
She'll
stress.
probably still be struggling with the said kids, still be struggling with said depression, still be struggling with the weight, still be struggling with working out, and still have that man.
It sounds like the only one who benefits is the man.
Y'all are so obsessed with the marriage. But yes, if you found a good man to marry, you wouldn't have these problems. I
True.
agree.
That is very true.
But, however, it shouldn't be dependent on the fact of having a man that these problems would not arise. Like, your own family who has been with you all your life should be able to give you a helping hand if you have no one else to support you outside of them.
Or friends.
Or friends.
Because if you had a kid, you tell me, ooh, or if I notice, I'm like, you want me to come take these kids for the week? Bring them on. You gonna do whatever you need to do.
Like, all this, oh, she's struggling, this, that, and third. Well, y'all are just watching her struggle. You
Like
care
a
so
movie.
much about this woman and her mental health and her not being lonely, all this stuff. Y'all don't go get up with her. Y'all don't go see her, take her out, nothing. Y'all don't do nothing to help that woman's situation, but you want to judge it from outside the club, looking in.
And TBH, I wouldn't believe a word this lion lizard was saying.
That too. Because who's to say that she really is all these things and all this stuff? He said that she said it to him. But again, I wouldn't believe you because I ain't hear it come out her mouth. Personally. Right. But regardless, all of these problems this woman has is not because she is absent of a man. It's because she is absent of companionship, period. She don't have nobody in her life to depend on. Ain't got nothing to do with a man. But continue. I digress.
Ugh, I'm sick already. Oh, this is good writing.
Not have help with kids, going through a hard time, and not be able to find a husband if she were thinner. I have friends of all sizes who could say the same thing. Just because a woman is fat doesn't mean she can't get a man. She just may not have found the man she wants. Automatically assuming that she doesn't have a man because she can't get one because of her weight is the problem. No, Mason, weight is the problem.
No, it's
so
crazy.
She told you all that other stuff. But she didn't tell you that her weight was the problem. And yet you're still saying her weight is the problem. She didn't have to tell me. I have eyes, he exclaimed, his voice getting louder. It's because of her size. And I don't want that for you. I mean it. Why are you convinced that it's her weight that's the cause of her depression and loneliness? How do you know it's not work stress, life stress, parenting stress, etc.? It's what I'm saying is that I don't want that to be you. He interrupted me with a fierce sincerity. You are the only blood niece I got left. You are the only child your parents have left. I just want you to have a real shot at life. I don't want you to be alone. That's all I meant. I don't mean no harm. I just don't want Macy's life to be your life. I'm worried about your future. I'm saying this because I love you.
Shove your love.
Uncle Al, I'm going home. I'm not doing this with you. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. I'm good. And you can either choose to believe that or not. Either way, I'm going home.
Hello, good
I
night.
sidestepped him. Now, if you'll excuse me. I know you lied to your mama. You don't got somebody coming to your birthday party. I unlocked my car door. Have a good night, Uncle Al. I meant what I said about the Yadalia, he restated. My stomach lurched again. I paused for only a second before I resumed opening my car door. If you don't have anyone, I can't give it to you, he continued.
Oh, what you little funky ass boat?
I shook my head and climbed into the driver's seat. Goodbye, Uncle Al. All right, Leah, he sighed, sadness tugging at his words. I love you.
Oh, shut the fuck up talking to me.
Love you too, I said, just before slamming the door.
She's too nice, because I would have said,
I started the engine immediately. I watched my uncle make his way to the backyard before I backed out of the driveway and headed home. Listening to music on the drive didn't help. The long hot shower I took when I got home didn't help. Eating my cookout leftovers didn't help. Climbing in bed and watching a movie didn't help. No matter what I did, I couldn't shake what my mom and uncle said. My uncle's fear was startling. I didn't subscribe to his line of thinking, but I was alarmed by the seriousness of his plea. It wasn't a surprise to me that people felt like being a fat woman meant lonely or desperate or willing to settle. Society pushed that narrative often. I grew up with a bigger body and the shadow of a slim sister. I went to a PWI for high school, so I didn't even realize the extent of how fine I was until I got to college. So Although my uncle's worry and concern blindsided me, that thought process wasn't new to me. But the fact that he felt like he needed to worry based off my mom's concerns bothered me. Because when did my mom start having concerns? My mother raised me to have unyielding high self-esteem, an abundance of self-confidence, and an independent spirit. I was well aware that I wasn't the beauty standard growing up. I was too fat, too smart, too black. But I never doubted my beauty. And because I was happy with who I was on the inside and the outside, my mom assured me that I would find the person I was meant to be with. I just had to have faith and be patient. And I believed that. I'd always been a good person with a good sense of humor, so people gravitated toward me. But when I got to Hamilton University, I was quickly and immediately reminded that beauty comes in all shades, shapes, and sizes. It was no longer just my family and friends recognizing my beauty. It was everyone. It was the boys at school actively hitting on me, asking me out, and complimenting me. It was the men at my internship and part-time job flirting with me. It was the older men wanting to take me out and fly me out. I was overwhelmed with attention. And when I got used to it, I figured out what I wanted and moved accordingly.
Like, just because fat girls ain't yokes,
I dated a lot.
somebody else's
And when I got my heart broken, I took a little break and then started dating again. And everything was cool until it wasn't. Between college and my first job after graduation, I met men all the time, and I dated for sport. After things ended with my first love, I dated for security. But it got old quickly. Dating just didn't have the appeal that it once had. I was very clear on what I wanted. But I kept finding myself out with men who didn't want the same thing that I did. Because of how invested my parents became in my love life after Anaya passed away, I stopped telling them about every little date. They were a little too hopeful when they heard the same name more than once, and they were a little too disappointed when I mentioned a new name. So I made the decision to just wait until there was someone serious in my life. It was better for everyone that way. They hadn't heard about anyone new since my last boyfriend because I wasn't taking any of the other ones seriously. After dating Matthew and figuring out we weren't compatible, I decided to start the year off by focusing on myself. I didn't want to date, but I did want to find a partner. And I'd just decided to start looking again after what happened with Matthew a few weeks ago. I would have told them that, but it wouldn't have made a difference. They didn't want to hear about the potential of a future boyfriend. They wanted to hear about the potential of a first grandchild. That's their issue, not mine. My family's comments got under my skin more than I wanted to admit. I spent the rest of the weekend in my head, replaying the conversations. I was going to forever be in Anaya's shadow. She was always the perfect one, even more so after death. I'd made peace with that a long time ago. I wasn't where Anaya was at this age. I hadn't achieved what she had achieved. I hadn't hit the benchmarks she had hit. It was clear that she did things the way they preferred. She did things the right way. But even still, they never made me feel like she was better or I was worse. I was never made to feel as though I was less loved or less accepted because of it. It was clear that I was just different from Anaya. However, between the setup, the constant sibling comparison, and the collective effort to marry me off, it was unsettling, and I didn't know where it was all coming from. I was irritated that my uncle didn't know how to talk to people at his big age. He was out of line, and his Christmas gift was going to reflect it. But it was my mom that really got to me. I was hurt that my mom was trying to hook me up with a man she didn't even know. I was bothered that she was talking about my love life with the family as if I were a lost cause. I was hurt by the fact that she seemed to have lost the faith and patience she sowed in me when I was younger. But on Sunday night, As I was stretched out in the middle of the bed, I realized why I couldn't shake the impromptu intervention of my love life. I knew I wanted a husband, so I needed to find a boyfriend. I knew in order to find a boyfriend, I needed to date. And in order to find a date, I needed to engage with men in a more intentional way. But I wasn't really interested in trying anything new. So to have my mom randomly throw the same sentiments to me that I'd been wrestling with was jarring, to say the least. Out of nowhere, my mom said if I wanted the husband and the kids, I may need to look outside of my comfort zone. And then she proceeded to tell me she invited a strange man to my birthday party. I told my best friends Monday morning as I drove to work. Jasmine Payne had called to ask about Anaya's celebration, and I'd conferenced in Nina Ford so I could tell them
Why we need
both what
full
happened.
government names?
They were expecting a sentimental recap and ended up getting an earful about my family's assessment of my love life. Oh, wow, Jazz reacted. Your uncle was dead wrong, and your mom called you out. She paused. She was wrong. But in reference to you getting out there again, wasn't she basically saying the same thing you were saying the other day? Yeah, I replied, slapping the steering wheel while I sat at the red light. And that's one of the reasons it got under my skin. The other reason is because she's kind of right, huh? Nina suggested. The loud music from the gym speakers pulsated behind her question. Yeah, I admitted through gritted teeth. She was wrong in her delivery, approach, and reasoning, but yeah, she laughed. So if me and your mom said you need to get out of your comfort zone, maybe you should try, I don't know, getting out of your comfort zone? I know I told you too that I wanted to find something real by my birthday. And I know getting out of my comfort zone is my best bet, but my voice trailed off as I flashed back to my exchange with my family. The way my family made me feel like a failure because I'm not where Anaya was in life by this age made me so mad. I know how family can be, Jazz offered sympathetically. But you know you're not a failure. Not at all, Nina chimed in. And while they were dead wrong for that, and your uncle was on some bullshit, your mom wasn't wrong about you needing to get out more. I took a left turn and frowned. I know I need to do something different, but the issue is that I don't want to do anything different. I have 8 weeks before my birthday, and I realize that I hate dating. I'm just ready to skip to the relationship part of it. If you hate dating, you're not doing it right, Nina commented.
How do you feel about the
Anita's
shape? I'm not
right,
mad at the shape.
Jasmine agreed. Dating sucks. Dating doesn't
It's a little
suck,
slimmer.
she assured us both.
My eye's smaller than hers.
You need to do something new. And Jazz, you need to get back out there. Both of you took yourselves out the game. And for what? I got divorced, Jazz answered incredulously. You got divorced almost 2 years ago, Nina argued. It's time to move on. Nina, I gasped. I agree with the sentiment, but it could have been delivered more tactfully.
You ain't got nobody with coops around you, girl.
She wailed. You know I'm right. Yes, but have some coop.
See? See? You ain't got no coops amongst you.
Connected to my office building. They both laughed. What's funny is that my aunt said something like that to me yesterday. Jasmine's voice had been sounding dejected lately. Even when she was amused, there was still a hint of sadness that remained. She was in and out of sleep, and that was the last thing she said to me. It was time to move on. Jasmine's favorite aunt had been sick for the better part of 2 years. She'd been on hospice 3 times, and each time she made a miraculous recovery. Jazz always spent a week of her summer vacation in her hometown. Up until her aunt got sick, she loved being there. Since then, whenever she'd call, she was just looking for a distraction, and she would avoid talking about her aunt. So the fact that she mentioned her was promising. How's your aunt doing? I wondered as I pulled into a parking spot. She's the same. she answered. I'm glad she isn't getting worse. That's a blessing, Nina pointed out. I nodded, even though they couldn't see me. Yeah, that is a blessing. It is. I don't know what I'm going to do when she goes. She's looking good, though, so hopefully I'll have her for a while longer. The time you're there with her will be good for the both of you. Time heals, I replied. The advice that your aunt gives you is invaluable, Nina responded. And I'm hoping that since you listened to her advice and she told you to get some new dick in your life, you'll actually do it. Jazz burst out laughing. That's not exactly what she said, but I'm sure it's what she meant, Nina reasoned. I want both of you to reframe your thinking when it comes to dating. I've been telling both of you to get it together for years now. And this weekend, your mom and aunt also told you to get it together. That's a sign. I just don't know. You just don't know what? Nina interrupted comically. Because dick is literally everywhere. What are you looking for? Big, medium, thick, curved? What? Ooh. There are so many men who would happily throw dick your way. You both could have so many options. But y'all aren't dating, right? Well, I want good dick, Jasmine specified. And I want a good man, I chimed in. Well, I can't
Kimani's getting nasty.
that. You said you wanted dick, and you said you wanted a man.
The comfort zone is out the window.
That there are men out here.
I decided to add a touch of baby blue.
The dick is good.
Yeah, like it looks nice.
Because it wasn't, it gives when you're not like here. I can see it, but I needed to give on camera. So we got to add a touch of this raw blue. I can see the bluish tint to it. Yeah, but I have to turn. It kind of gives like silvery blue. Yeah, I don't know what they call it in the industry, but it's either a duochrome, multichrome. It's one of the chromes. Why is everything chrome? I like her friends. I like how they wrote this. This is real black women having a conversation. Mm-hmm.
They're mixing and mingling. I'm not trying to mix.
Yeah, I think the blue just does something.
I complained, watching some of my coworkers come to the building. Good. With my voice, so I wasn't overheard. There's got to be an easier way than dating. I want the shortcut. I just want to find my person and start our lives together. How are you going to do that if you don't date? She questioned. It would be different if you didn't want the husband and the kids, but you do. So you would have to get out there and date, Aaliyah.
Right.
Been there,
she's
done
contradicted
that.
herself.
Don't want to do it again. Jazz interrupted. I was talking to Aaliyah, Nina countered. But for you, you need to get back out there and knock the cobwebs off your pussy.
Okay.
You've been saying since your spring break that when school let out for the summer, you were going to get your back blown out. But you ain't been nowhere or seen no one.
Who is this in our friend group? Who is this in our friend group?
Which one?
The one who said, you said you was going to get your back blown out. Come be a 304. If anyone, it would be T.
Yes.
Would definitely be T. I'd be the hermit. And you'd be the friend that was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know.
As far as I can tell, your back is fully intact. And a lone tumbleweed is blowing right across that cat of yours.
As far as I can tell, your back is fully intact.
And my body was slumped against the steering wheel. I was cracking up. Not tumbleweeds, Nina. You're going too far now.
She is Nina.
Jasmine protested, amusement in her tone. And I'm going to be working on it once I get back in town. It's about to be July. I still have 2 full months of summer left. Nina clicked her tongue. I don't know what I'm going to do with you two. One of you wants dick, one of you wants a relationship, and neither one of you are out here doing anything about it. Just letting time, dick, and dates pass you by. Nina, we get it. It's too early in the morning for you to be coming at us like this. I pleaded when I caught my breath. Well, rise and shine, she laughed. But let me give you some real talk. Both of you have to get out of your own way to get what you want. Noticing the time, I opened my car door and eased out. I hear what you're saying, but... Hello, Miss James. A familiar voice called out to me before I could finish my sentence. I have a question for you. With my phone pressed to one ear, I hoisted my shoulder bag farther on my arm and turned my entire body toward the voice, knowing I couldn't finish my sentence, let alone finish the call. I smiled at the man who approached me. Hey, I just got to work, so I'm going to call y'all later, I said, as I watched my supervisor get closer. They said their goodbyes through giggles, and I disconnected the call. Shoving my phone into the side pocket of my bag, I flashed him a smile. Good morning, Jeremy. I waited until he caught up, and then he fell into step with me. What's up? That was a great save you submitted last week. I nodded. Thanks. I glanced at him suspiciously. I appreciate it. I want to get your opinion on something. He grabbed the door and held it open for me to walk through. Or more specifically, someone. My stomach turned at his request as we approached the elevator. Opinion on what? How do you think Grace Bowers is doing with the company? Who? She's a new developer. When the name and role didn't ring a bell, he cocked his head to the side. She's the developer who created the design your team worked on? Oh, okay. I nodded. I know who you're talking about now. What are your thoughts? She's only been with the company a month. I haven't gotten a chance to watch her work or work closely with her, so I don't really have any thoughts on her. But she seems to be working out the kinks of what's being asked of her. She's still new and adjusting. It's only been a month. He nodded thoughtfully. Okay. Why? What's up? I asked, even though my gut told me what was going on. This is the second mistake we've caught. And now the manager's meeting is coming up and his voice trailed off as the elevator dinged. He gave me a curt nod to let me know the subject was closed. Anyway, good work last week. Thank you. He went to the second floor, and I went through the main door to my first floor office space that I shared with 4 others at Encompass Tech. Good morning, I greeted the programming team. There were a few low good mornings and a grunt from the corner. It was a typical Monday welcome from them. With a tight smile, I went to my desk on the far right near the window. I turned on my computer, unpacked my bag, and prepared for the workday. My desk phone rang, and I frowned until I saw who it was. Good morning, Ramona, I answered. Good morning. How are you? How was your weekend? I smiled. I'm well, thank you. My weekend was nice. How was yours? It was great. Are you coming to the second floor at any time today? My interest was piqued. I can. Everything okay? Yes. But something happened this weekend, and you are the first person I thought of. What happened? It's not bad. She giggled. Just come up here when you get a chance. Okay, I agreed. Let me check my email and then I'll be up. I logged into my account, and somehow I had almost 100 unread messages. Every single one of them came after 5 o'clock on Friday, as if the weekend didn't exist. With a shake of my head, I started combing through each one. 90 minutes later, I finished going through my stuff, and the rest of the IT office seemed to wake up. They were a relatively quiet group of men, and since Constance was out on maternity leave, I was the only woman in the department. But my work environment was great, and my experience with them was far better than any other
Oh,
job
she
I'd
intense.
worked.
She got money.
We exchanged a laugh when someone pointed out an email that we'd all been copied on. We scheduled a meeting for 11 o'clock, and I smiled at the ease
Okay,
of
now
everything
here's the hard
with
part,
us.
doing the underline.
My first
bro.
job out of college, I was treated as if I were too young, too inexperienced, and too black to successfully do my job. At the job I had prior to landing at Encompass Tech, I was told that my fatness was going to hinder my ability to move up in the company. And every day during my time there, I had to fight for my voice to be heard over the rest. So, I developed a thick skin, zero tolerance for bullshit, and the ability to make sure my voice was heard. I loved my career, and fortunately for the last 3 years, I'd been happy with my coworkers and my employer. Ahead of the meeting, I decided to go to the second floor and see what Ramona wanted. The finance office was toward the back, so I had to walk past the glass offices of the conference rooms. My supervisor was in a meeting with all the other supervisors, and it didn't look good. Averting my eyes, I continued to my destination. Oh, hey, you can't just walk in. Bart Fender, Ramona's new receptionist, called out from somewhere behind me. I glanced over my shoulder. Okay. I looked through the open door at Ramona and then back to Bart. But she's looking right at me. It's fine, Bart, Ramona yelled out from my desk. Oh, okay. Sorry, he mumbled under his breath as he slowed to a stop a few feet away from me. Lifting his coffee mug, he nodded at me. You can go in. With pursed lips, I walked into Ramona's office and closed the door behind me. Ignore him. 3 months, and he's still learning the ropes. She waved her hand in the air before her entire face lit up. I was just about to call you again. What's going on? I asked, taking a seat across from her. So, remember when you stopped by my birthday party for a few minutes back in May? Yes. Did you notice a man in black and red? I shook my head. Not at all. I barely remember what you had on. She laughed. I understand. It's been a long month. Tell me about it. Well, my friend in the black and red was Derek. He asked me about someone at the party a few weeks ago, and I didn't know who he was talking about. But then he randomly brought it up again this weekend, and I realized he was talking about you. He's interested, and she held up her hands. No pressure, but he'd love to meet you. I told him I wasn't going to give him your last name or phone number because I needed to check with you first.
Hello?
If you're interested in meeting him, just say the word.
You see? You know what? You see this? 2 of the same scenario. 2 different approaches. One was right. One was dead the fuck wrong. Okay, Money, this is stunning. Can you see the second one?
Yes, you're beautiful, friend.
Glory to God. Yes. I still got to smoke it out, but... Yeah, anyways. Niggas and women of YouTube. That... Choose ye this day. Because one way gonna get you slapped.
And he'll ask you out himself. My eyebrows flew up. What? He said he wanted the ball to be in your court. He didn't want to put any pressure on you. So he said to let him know the time, date, and location, and he'd be there. Oh, and he said that if you choose Friday, make it after 5 o'clock because of work. I let out a stunned giggle. What? I wasn't shocked that the man wanted to go out with me. I was more in disbelief at his approach. I loved that he knew what he wanted and wasn't afraid to go after it. But the whole thing caught me off guard. Yeah, I was impressed with the energy he was bringing too. That's why I called you first thing this morning. Grinning, Ramona swooped her relaxed hair behind her ears and leaned forward. He's a good one. He's been single for
Good man,
months
Savannah.
now, and I know he's serious about looking for the right woman to settle down with. I don't know. As tempting as it sounded, I was a little hesitant about a blind date. Do you have a picture of him? Her face crumpled in a sheepish expression. I don't. And because I didn't show him anything of yours, I wouldn't feel right pulling up his social media to show you anything of his. I nodded. I respect that. I folded my arms over my chest and considered it for a moment. Can I let you know? The phone on her desk started ringing just as she replied, yes, of course. Saved by the bell. No joke. As I rose to my feet, I'll call you and let you know. Lifting her hand in a wave, she answered the phone. I made my way back to my office, and I couldn't help thinking about how all these signs were pointing to me finding my person. I took time to regroup, reflect, and refocus. And then I decided I wanted to start dating. The same week I said I was ready, my uncle said he was scared I'd end up alone. My mother said she was worried about my lack of relationships. And my best friend said I needed to get back out there. Granted, Nina had been saying that all year, but still. The fact that all those things happened within a few days, and then my coworker tried to set me up with a friend out of the blue, felt a little too coincidental. It was exactly 2 months, 8 weeks until my birthday. And I wanted to lock down a birthday boo. God, is this a sign? I wondered.
Yes!
As I sat down at my desk.
It's a
I
sign!
was ready to date, even though I didn't want to date. For me, to get what I wanted out of life, I needed to do something. I'd taken myself out of the game. Maybe I got too comfortable during those months off because I was just not interested in doing what my friends suggested I should do to get back out there and meet men. Starting July off with a date could be just the thing I needed to kickstart my boyfriend quest. I tapped my chin. Maybe meeting Ramona's friend was the perfect first step back into dating. There was the potential that he was the man of my dreams. There was also the potential that he was the man of my nightmares. I heard Nina's voice telling me to get out of my own way. I heard my mom telling me to get out of my comfort zone. I heard my uncle calling me out about not having a boyfriend or a birthday date. But most distinctly, I heard what I told myself when I started
All
the
this
new
noise in the
year.
background too. Like,
I was holding out for something real, something lasting, something magical. I told myself that when I was ready, I was going to find that for my 30th birthday. And I was ready. Before I could lose my nerve, I grabbed the phone and called Ramona. I accept. Tell him to meet me at this new place downtown called Onyx. I blurted out. Friday at 7:30. 4. I hate dating. I closed my eyes as the fruity cocktail swirled around my mouth, dancing across my taste buds. I savored it for a second before swallowing the last of the drink I'd been nursing for half an hour. Between the bartender asking me if I was still waiting for someone every 5 minutes and the fact that I was still waiting over 30 minutes later, I was in a mood. Men fucking suck. I grumbled aloud. Not all men. A deep voice interrupted my peaceful moment. My eyes flew open, and my sights landed on the bartender with the toffee complexion, chiseled jaw, and goofy-ass look on his face. My cheeks heated under his gaze. I tried to look away, but the intensity of his eyes, or the intensity of my rage, kept us both locked in. Did I say that out loud? I wondered. With 2 long strides, he was standing directly in front of me with his arms crossed over his broad chest. I couldn't help but notice how his biceps flexed at the movement. His smile grew as he nodded. You did. And as a man, I'm offended. Well, take that up with the rest of your gender. Right. Come on. Don't be like that. I eyed the bearded man warily. I'm not being like anything. Do you want to order something? If you order another drink, maybe no one will notice you got stood up. I glowered at him, and his annoyingly perfect smile. Who said I got stood up? I snapped. He put his hands against the bar and leaned toward me. You've been checking your phone and the door since you got here. Why are you watching what I'm doing? It's my job to notice things. It's your job to pour drinks. He let out a chuckle and leaned a little closer. What's your name? Glaring at him, I didn't immediately say anything. Aaliyah, I finally answered. Aaliyah, he repeated, stretching out each syllable. I readjusted myself on the stool and swallowed hard. A slight frown pulled on my lips. I was annoyed by how sexy it sounded as it rolled off his tongue. I shifted my gaze for a moment, and when our eyes met again, he smirked. I'm Ahmad. He took a step back. Are you going to order another drink? Or are you going to keep taking a seat away from actual customers who want to drink? I looked around dramatically, opening my arms wide. What customers? Onyx was a new bar
I'm scared.
conveniently located across the street from my luxury apartment complex downtown. It had only been open for a week, and the word hadn't spread about the place yet. There were maybe 10 people in total in the building, including the bartender, a waitress, and someone hiding out in the back office.
Now I gotta do a dramatic
It's
lip.
still early.
A
Oh, I
dramatic.
like the blue
Most people
shadow
don't start
under.
coming in
That's
until
Right? That's something I just decided to,
I checked my phone.
to make it a shape.
yeah, you ain't that.
Just
Mm-hmm.
he assured me.
But I like the inspo, but I don't like the bar for bar nobody.
As if on cue, the front
Unless
door
it's
swung
stunning.
open and 2 women walked in.
But I'm gonna still tag her because
Are
it's her
these
look.
all the customers you're waiting on? I asked sarcastically. Yep, he replied with a smirk. And it doesn't look like either of them is the date you're waiting on.
Oh, you
I
got jokes.
sucked my teeth. Asshole. I
Do she
muttered
like the
under my
bartender,
breath,
Kimani?
digging
You're not
into
gonna bring
my
the
bag
bartender to the
after
family
walking.
dinner, are you?
When I saw that I'd never broke the $100 bill that I'd gotten from the ATM, I was even more frustrated. I wanted to throw my money on the bar and storm out, but I refused to give that man an $80 tip. I watched him at the other end of the bar as he took the drink orders for the 2 women who had just entered. Shifting my gaze away from him, I stared at my reflection in the mirror that covered the wall in front of me. What am I doing? I spent 2.5 hours finger coiling my thick hair. I wore a mauve dress that fit my full figure like a
All right,
glove
Kimani, it's a
and
dramatic
complemented
overline
my
lip.
rich mocha complexion.
Okay.
I wore black strappy heels that pinched my pinky toe, but made my ass look incredible. I moved up my appointment so my wax, nails, and eyebrows were fresh. All for a man that never even bothered to show up.
And that, ladies, is why you do nothing for men.
Seeing Nina's name dance across the screen immediately relaxed me. Hello, I answered. What do you mean he hasn't shown up yet? She shouted, replying to the text I sent her a few minutes prior. My coworker's friend hasn't shown up, and I'm about to leave. I told her. This was a waste of time, energy, makeup, and an outfit.
Hello?
I'm sorry. Screw him. And honestly, screw your coworker too. Yeah, I should have never agreed to go. I sighed, closing my eyes again. I just wanted to meet someone, hit it off, and ring in my birthday with a man. And you still can? One man's fuck up is another man's opportunity. Write that down. That's a quotable. Oh my God. I let out an amused groan. I'm serious. I'm serious too. Do you want a boyfriend? Or do you just want a man for your birthday to prove your family wrong? Nina asked. Both, I answered. I mean, I don't want just anyone. And I don't want my first or second date with a guy to be my birthday party. I'm turning 30. I'm trying to celebrate and then go to the house and get my back blown out.
Period.
I opened my eyes
In that
to
order.
find the bartender staring at me. I wasn't sure how long he'd been standing there or if he had heard me, but it didn't matter. After he called me out on being stood up, I had already decided that I was never setting foot in that establishment again. You don't need a boyfriend to do that, she pointed out. The way I'm trying to do it, it would be best if he was my man, I replied, as I watched a
Time to
mod
get
walk over to
freaky.
help another customer. She laughed. I feel you. Well, listen, forget tonight. There's a lot that can happen in 8 weeks. Technically 7, because my party is on the 8th week. There's a lot that can happen in 7 weeks, she corrected. I haven't had a boyfriend in almost 3 years, so the idea of me finding one this summer feels like a bit of a reach.
All right, I have to
Yeah.
give a nasty nude
But
look.
now you're actually willing to try. All year, all you did was complain that you hate dating and refuse to go out. I do hate dating. And tonight is a perfect example of why. Being stood up sucks. So let's forget tonight. Go somewhere else and regroup. I already know you look good. Go to a new spot and let the men come to you. This could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe he was a troll, and that's why your coworker didn't want to show you a picture. Maybe he saw you and left because he knew you were out of his league. Maybe He doesn't know how to parallel park and couldn't find a spot. Whatever the case, you look good, and you're already out. I'm proud of you, and I'm glad you're back. I need you in these streets with me to take some of these men off my hands. So we'll go out when I get back, and we'll meet some guys. Hell, if all goes well, I'll get back early enough for us to go out tomorrow night and Sunday night.
It's
We're in the
dramatic.
weekend, right?
I like that
You
brown.
like to like
Brown
it.
scent.
Thanks, Nina.
It's
I
Blue
hope I'm
Bunny.
not interrupting your hair appointment.
Taj's
I
line.
text you so you'd call. I
It's,
just knew you didn't
yeah,
know
little
I'd
Miss
been
She don't whatever.
publicly humiliated.
She don't do
Okay.
something.
How's the hair looking?
She don't miss.
She laughed. You haven't been publicly humiliated. No one knows what happened tonight but us. And for all that asshole knows, you didn't show up for the date either. It'll be like it never happened. Thank you, girl. I needed that. Anytime. And I'll call you later tonight if I can. I'll be up.
What if whole
I
time he
promise
did
before
come,
we
he
set
seen
out
her
the
flirting with
vibes.
the bartender,
Look
and that's why he
aside.
just walked back
I
out.
dropped my phone back into my
You
bag.
gotta be a woman of God and stature to be with that man.
I was told.
He said, don't look at another woman. You hear me?
End of the bar.
Are you keeping it all
It
brown?
was clear he was engaged in a conversation with a woman.
Because she has a super light lip, right?
She was laughing hysterically, sticking her
It's
tongue
the
out
plethora
loud
of lips that
and
she
pushing
just
her
pulled out of the
breasts
air.
up every chance she got. He was admittedly handsome, and some of the jokes he'd made were moderately funny, but nothing was as funny as that one
little
was
white in the
making it
middle.
out to be. I couldn't see his
Okay.
face, so I just stared at the back of his strange curl fade. And as if he could feel my eyes boring into him, he turned to look at me. With a quick word to the woman, he seemed to conclude their conversation. As he headed toward me, he rubbed his hand down the front of his shirt, and I noticed the black band on his left hand. Is that a wedding ring? I blurted out. He gave me a look. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
it
drew
is.
back
It's
surprised.
crazy.
Oh, he appeared to be 30-something, so I shouldn't have been shocked he was married. A lot of people were married by 30. My lips turned downward as my mother's and uncle's words infiltrated my thoughts, reminding me of how I was not in that percentage. Why was that your reaction? He wondered. Never mind. I paused for a second, shaking my head. It's a long story, but I'm ready to pay my tab. He took the large bill from me and held it up to the light, inspecting it. Once he verified it was real, he brought me my change. You want a little advice? No, I answered, putting my money back in my wallet.
No.
I don't know why you got stood up,
Cunty.
but I do know why you didn't get approached while you were in here. Because there are no people here? I guessed. And you called me the asshole? He let out a chuckle under his breath. No, Aaliyah. It's because you don't look approachable. I don't take advice from random men, I informed him. But I didn't get up and leave. Something about the way his brown eyes pierced mine held me in place. What do you mean I don't look approachable? You're a beautiful woman. An asshole, but a beautiful woman. He moved out of the way so I could see my reflection in the mirror wall. But look at the way you're sitting. You look like you'll knock the head off anyone who talks to you. And I will. His eyes danced with amusement. I believe it. It's not safe for women to be alone, or inviting, or approachable. I shook my head. But I wasn't trying to look inviting or approachable because I was supposed to be on a blind date. He clapped his hands together. I knew it, he exclaimed loudly. I fucking knew you got stood up. I stared at him, my mouth agape. Wow. Oh, no, my bad. He nodded. You're right. That was fucked up. His lips turned downward in a contemplative manner, and he tried to look serious. Maybe he'll show up in the next few minutes. I don't like for my time to be wasted, so it doesn't matter if he does show up now. He's almost an hour late. Oh, shit. An hour? Yeah, he ain't coming. I curled my lip in disgust. Glad to know this is the place to come to when I want to be kicked while I'm down. If it makes you feel any better, I'll kick you while you're up, too. Begrudgingly, my lips turned upward. You're not funny. He pinched his pointer finger and thumb together. I am. A little bit.
Now he is
With
funny.
my head, I gestured to the right.
I'm not mad at the
direction of
slip.
the woman he was speaking to earlier. Don't let your friend.
But it takes so much to get here.
You're not that funny.
30,000 things are going on this table.
I don't see.
30.
He gestured to the empty bar stool beside me. Your date.
Still
My
not done.
mouth dropped.
Now I
and
need to find
a stomach
rhinestones.
laugh coughed out. Oh, I think I officially hate you. I'm just fucking with you, he said, amusement dripping from each word. The serious
Kind
question.
of guy friends.
Why the hell would you go on a blind date? I sighed loudly. I don't even know. My 30th birthday is in a couple of months. I'm having a party at one of the houses over on Dowdy Lake. He let out a low whistle. A house on Dowdy Lake? That's nice. Yeah. I'm having the dress-up dinner party portion to kick it off, and then the sun will set and we'll roll into the real party. I told him proudly. I've been planning this for a year. I always envisioned having a date for it. But as of last week, I need to have a boyfriend for this thing. He shook his head and let the sentence trail off. Why? Why do I need to have a boyfriend? By your birthday, he clarified. I sighed. It's a long story. Okay, but he twisted his face into a frown. A blind date? I know, I groaned. I know. He looked bewildered. He opened his mouth to say something, but a customer ran up to the bar a couple of feet away from me. Give me a second, he told me, tapping the bar and moving toward the woman. Can I have another straw, please? She asked. Of course, Ahmad replied, grabbing one from behind him and handing it to her. I have another question. The woman tucked her hair behind her ear and leaned closer to him. Well, are you single? No, I'm married, he responded.
Did she get up with this married man?
I'm sorry? Don't be sorry,
Just
she
cut the
said
cameras.
kindly. I appreciate you asking. She giggled and then turned and left. I tried to look away before he noticed. Ahmad made his way back over to me and folded his arms over his chest. So, what's got you out here going on a blind date to find a man before your 30th birthday? I didn't plan on never seeing him again, so I told him the truth. I told my family I would introduce them to my boyfriend at my birthday party and have my Cinderella moment. I admitted, but there is no boyfriend. So now I have to produce a man and prove that I'm not the problem child they think I am. So they think you're a problem because you don't have a man? Not because of your attitude or your personality or your general disposition? I narrowed my eyes. I'm going to write a terrible review of this place online. He laughed. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. He straightened his face and tried to look serious. So let me guess. You're the only child, not married and without kids? Something like that. Which to them means I'm behind the curve or something. I made a face. A boyfriend leads to a husband, and a husband leads to kids. And you think a boyfriend by your 30th is going to stop them from being on your ass about being behind? He guessed. Yeah. For a while, anyway. He gave me a long, contemplative look. But
She
instead
was a
of blind
scholar.
dates, you'd be better off trying Tenderfish. It was my turn to frown. I don't like dating apps. They aren't safe. You are stubborn, I see. I narrowed my eyes and pursed my lips. You just don't like the idea of getting on Tenderfish because I suggested it, he stated. I don't like the idea because it's not safe. He balked. How is it any less safe than you meeting someone you've never seen before? Not only that, meeting someone you've never seen before in a bar by yourself. He quirked an eyebrow. I've seen some shit in my lifetime. You can't trust some of these men out here, especially the ones you don't know. You can't trust some men you do know, I countered. So, what are you doing? He came recommended by a coworker. So at least someone I know knows he really exists. Ahmad's brown eyes widened as he pointed to the empty seat beside me. Who? Him? I bit my bottom lip to keep from laughing. You think everything is a damn joke. Just hear me out. He grabbed a shaker and started preparing the drink. Create an account. Check out what's out there. And don't ever do this blind date shit again. The people I know who are on the apps always complain about the creeps on there. I made a face. They meet some decent ones too, but it's mostly creeps. It's not safe. It's not that bad. He scoffed. I lifted my head and narrowed my eyes at him. That's that male privilege. As a man, you don't have to think about all the things that could go left on a date in the same way as I do. Could you be set up and robbed? Yes. But outside of that, what do you really worry about on a date? He thought about it for a minute, pouring the mixed concoction into a glass. Okay. And being fat, being black, being a woman, all these things make it a little more complicated to date and feel safe. Well, what would make you feel safe? I shrugged. I don't even know, I admitted. But I'm scared of meeting a guy and him attacking me. I'm scared of someone slipping something in my drink. I'm scared of being assaulted. I'm scared of having phone chemistry, but no in-person chemistry. I'm scared of talking on the phone with a guy for weeks to get to know him and then meeting him and not being attracted to him. I'm scared of, okay, I get it. He interrupted.
Scared.
I've never really thought about it like that, but you're right. That's some heavy shit. He slid the drink he'd just prepared in front of me. Yeah, it's on the house. I touched the glass, sliding it closer to me. It was the exact same drink I'd had earlier. Thank you. He wiped his hands on a towel and then tossed it back down. You're right. There are situations I don't have to think about when I go on a date that you do. And you're right. That's bullshit. So instead of worrying about the things you can't control, focus on controlling the things that you can. Like, I work here every Friday night. Set the dates for Friday nights and meet them here. I'll watch it back and make sure no shady shit happens.
She don't know you,
These
nigga.
days, I lifted the drink to my lips.
I mean, Machina told this man all her
I popped my
business.
head to the side.
She might as well know
Listen
him
to
now.
me. His brows furrowed.
Brethren.
What do you mean? Why would you help me? Why wouldn't I? He turned away from me to take the order of the man who had just walked up. I watched him as he grabbed various bottles and started putting the drink together. Unsure of why I trusted the man who had been roasting me for most of my time there, I pulled out my phone and downloaded Tenderfish. Once I filled in the preliminary questions of my name, date of birth, gender, sexual orientation, and email, I switched to my photo album and selected a picture of me smiling. Oh, wow, Ahmad commented, leaning over the bar. My eyes started up, catching him staring at my phone. What? You're smiling. You've been frowning the whole time you've been here. I didn't realize you knew how to smile. I smiled when I first walked in here, I replied. Back when I had hope. He made a face. Yeah, okay. He pointed to the phone. Finish your profile. I'm going to go take care of that. While he did his job, I lost myself in creating a bio that quickly and succinctly summed up who I was and what I wanted. Damn, you put your blood type and your credit score in there? Ahmad joked as he approached me. Why were you over here writing a novel? What did you put in your bio? I balked. I just said a little about me and what I want. Now it's asking for my celebrity crush. Let me guess. He squinted at me. Your celebrity crush is probably Shaw Lockwood.
Who?
From that superhero movie franchise? The one who just got arrested for fighting on set? That everyone's been calling mean and problematic? My face twisted, and my lip curled in disgust as the sexy yet troubled star came to mind. You think my type is mean and problematic? He nodded. You look like you like a mean. What would they say?
You like him.
Birds of a feather flock
He been mean to you
together.
the whole time.
I rolled my eyes And your celebrity crush is probably... Before I could get my joke off, he interrupted me. India Davis. Oh, I loved India Davis. Her music resonated with my soul. Because I had nothing bad to say about one of my favorite artists, I snapped my mouth closed. India Davis is the woman of my dreams. He beckoned to my phone before crossing his arms over his chest. Now, let me hear what you put in your profile. No, come on. Once I'd added 3 additional pictures, my profile was complete. I shook my head as I hit save and officially entered the world of online dating. Even though he didn't ask me again with his words, he stood there, silently begging. I could use the feedback from a male perspective. I took a long sip from my glass before I relented. Fine. I cleared my throat. I'm an intelligent, communicative IT professional with no kids. I like to have fun, so karaoke sessions, museum trips, attending concerts, going skating, traveling the world, and trying new adventures are examples of great dates to me. Likes to drink, but no drugs. Likes dogs, but no pets. Likes sex, but no hookups. My ideal date is one that is planned for me with me in mind. So, if you are an honest, loyal, straightforward, funny, smart, thoughtful, single man with a successful career who knows how to plan a date, let's connect. When I looked up at him, there was a confused look on his face. What? I asked. What do you think? I don't think anyone is going to read all that. He lifted his shoulders. I mean, they might. Your pictures are fire, so they might. So you think I should change it? He shook his head. If you think all of that is important for someone to know before swiping on you, then I guess you should keep it. But it's a lot. I know I wouldn't read all that, but I'm sure someone will. What did yours say when you were on it? Drug-free, disease-free, drama-free. He shrugged. The app already had my age, education, and career posted. Everything else could be discussed in conversation. He gave me a look. Short, sweet, and to the point. What would yours say now if you were looking? 32-year-old professional looking for my match. Drug-free, disease-free, drama-free. He smirked. So basically the same thing as back then. I put my phone down and picked up my drink. So you think mine is too much?
That's what he just said.
That's
Friend,
exactly
don't piss me
what I
off.
said. I groaned. And this is why I didn't even want to do this. How did I let you talk me into it? Because it's a good idea, he explained. And you said you wanted a boyfriend for your birthday and your big lake party, right? I nodded, finishing my drink. Yeah, well, this is going to be your best bet. He gestured to me. Because you're not the friendliest in person. That's rich coming from you. He made a face. What's that supposed to mean? Ahmad, how many times did you ask me if I was waiting for someone? You knew I was, and you saw that no one showed up. Why would you keep asking me? I was checking in on you. Yeah, maybe the first time. Okay. Then after you had an attitude, I just did it to get under your skin. I shook my head and frowned. What kind of person does something like that? A sociopath? He chuckled. In my defense, there wasn't much else going on to amuse myself. He gestured around
That's
the
hilarious.
bar. As you pointed out, there weren't
That
many
was
people
more, so I was looking with you.
and you were the only one sitting at the bar. You then use your time to clean glasses and wipe down your work area. Don't use your free time to harass me. He scratched his beard with one hand and gestured to my phone with the other. And that's why I'm doing a good deed by helping you know. I pursed my lips. I'm righting my wrongs. Amusement forced my lips upward. Shut up. I'm serious. Forgive me. I do not forgive you.
No, forgive me. She gonna get up with this married
I can see the
man.
stress leaving your body.
God,
If anything, I'm more
Lord,
stressed
Lord.
because of you. Then why are you smiling? He asked, teasing
Like,
me.
get with his brother.
Because you're
or something.
ridiculous? Nah. It's because I'm the man with
But
the
they
most
have been
plan.
talking a little too long.
I
It's
got off
giving
my bar
he's the love
stool.
interest.
Yeah, I'm leaving. And then you'll be down to 9 people in here. He chuckled. Go home and swipe. I'll see you Friday. You might. There might not be anyone on the app. Well, there wasn't anyone here either, so it's worth a try.
Oh.
My jaw dropped. I think I hate you, Ahmad. With the
Oh, no,
grin,
she gonna fuck him
he
good.
winked at me. Back at you. Laughing, I adjusted
gonna
my
get
crossbody
to him.
bag. I can't believe you said
Loaf
that.
her back.
I looked around dramatically. Where's the owner? My father is at home. Ah, I see how you got the job.
Oh.
It all makes sense.
Well.
He nodded. Nepotism. Snickering, he shook his head. Just try out the app and see. Report back on Friday. I might, I replied, turning on my heel and walking toward the exit. Goodbye. It's the worst that could happen. He called to my back as I left Onyx Bar. Famous last words, I muttered as I walked across the street to my building.
She live across the street from this bar.
Yes, that's why she picked it.
I can't believe you waited almost 24 hours to start swiping on this app, Nina stated in awe. I would have started swiping the moment I created an account. This is stressful. I needed wine, popcorn, and moral support. She laughed, folding her leg underneath her on the couch. But weren't you curious? Of course. But I felt like I needed an old pro by my side as I ventured into this. So I spent the day cleaning, and now here we are. She put her hand to her chest, feigning
Oh, yeah,
shock.
this is stupid.
Did you call me an old pro? As in, a professional?
A
She leaned
professional.
forward.
Oh.
Did you just call me a hoe? I snickered.
A
That's not what I meant,
304.
and you know.
Please.
I just mean that you've been in these dating streets for a while, and you know the lay of the land. You could give me some pointers and help me get the hang of things. I mean, you're not wrong. I've been in the streets my entire adult life. With a smile, she closed her eyes.
Why is it 304 and not 403?
You are a problem, I cackled. For them, yes.
I don't know.
She nodded. I'll own that. After a brief overview and the directive to swipe left to say no and swipe right to say yes, I was ready to begin. After a refill of wine, I started swiping through my app with Nina's guidance. We made a game of it, discussing each profile that came up. There's no way the type of man I'm looking for is on this app, I speculated. I want someone who gets me, not someone who is out to get me. Nina choked on her wine and coughed through a chuckle. Leah, please. I'm serious, I giggled. Just keep swiping and be for real. Oh my God, I gasped. What? I sat up and cleared my throat. I don't mean no harm, but women on this app are just looking for someone to spend money on them, and that ain't me. I read with a deep voice, trying not to laugh. I'll make my own money. I got my own everything. I'll provide for me and mine. What do you bring to the table? What do you have to offer besides what's between your legs? If you're not a gold digger, swipe right. She groaned from the other end of the couch. I hate it when I come across profiles like that, and you'll come across quite a few of them. This mindset is wild, and this approach is just so negative. Does it say what he does for a living?
Please.
I showed her my phone. Of course not. And on top of that, he's not cute on the inside or the outside. That's a no. Pulling out her phone, she opened the Tenderfish app. On to the next one. Amen. I agreed, swiping left. And then I kept swiping left. Well, hold on, Nina demanded, putting her hand on my forearm. Slow down. You're swiping left so fast, you're not even savoring the experience. I pointed at
And that's the
her.
look, honey.
I'm swiping just as fast as you are. Yes, but I've
look
been on apps
stunning.
before. This is month 2 of me being on this one in
You'll be combing
particular,
his hair.
and I know the drill. She gave me a look. You are on it for the first time. Take your time. Experience all of its wonder.
All right.
George, 36.
All right. All right, and there you have it. This is the final look. I was very, very, very much influenced by Nature Looks. I'm gonna post a picture. But that was Curvy Girl Summer at the beginning. It's more of like a real story more than just being like balls to wall sex and random shit. So I don't know. I like the story like as a personal read. I think we're gonna continue the story. It's cool. I like it. Whatever. Get up with y'all on that later. But if you made it to this part of the video, I want to thank you so much. This is officially the end. But before you go, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell. That way you're going to be notified every single time I post a new video. Again, my name is Shay. I'll see y'all next time. Bye, friends.
Julie, do the thing.